Good morning. I reached out to a friend of mine in Berlin to see how he was doing. He plays piano for a school of ballerinas in Berlin, and he told me that half the dancers have already gone home because of the coronavirus, of course. Which didn't surprise me. Many of our own schools and universities are closing and sending students home to have online classes. And I said to him, I guess you really can't learn ballet online, can you? I am familiar with this struggle as myself. Of course, one of my favorite hobbies happens to be swing dancing. And you cannot swing dance online. Of course, my hobby is like the most germ-infested, spreading hobby out there. Literally holding hands with people one after the next after the next. A friend of mine told me I could just go online and learn some solo jazz moves in my living room. And I shrugged and kind of said, yeah, but it's not the same. And it's not the same. The internet is a powerful tool of which I am most grateful, but there are a lot of things that we can't do online. There are a lot of things that we can't do when we're not face to face, flesh to flesh, brother and sister to brother and sister. At the heart of the Christian faith is a deep appreciation for the body. You'll recall that on each day of creation, God looked at what God had made and God said, "It is good." Of course, there are a lot of philosophies and there were a lot of religions at that time that thought the material world was evil, that the body was something fundamentally bad and something that ought to be escaped, but not Christianity. God loved the world so much that God sent Jesus Christ in a human body to walk and talk and touch, to spit into the mud and make a healing paste out of the dirt. Jesus lived in a body, died in a body, and was raised in a body. We cannot have the Christian gospel without flesh. So for years, I've been really skeptical of online church for this simple reason. If you go to church online, whose feet will you wash? I would so much rather be all in the same room with you today, having a 10-minute passing of the peace block party like we normally do. But this is not the first time, and this is not the last time that the Christian community has experienced temporal or spatial distance. St. Paul's letters, which fill so much of the New Testament, were often written when he was physically separated from his community. Somewhere because he had traveled to start a new church, or because he was in prison, or shipwrecked. So St. Paul writes these letters with this eager desire to be restored face to face to the communities of people that he loves. He writes with joy, but with this kind of eager longing. But you never get the sense that St. Paul is completely cut off from the church. There is what we theologians call the mystical body of Christ. It is the body of Christ which we cannot see, the church, which holds together in all places. Now, this mystical body of Christ, it is not the work of our hands. It is the work of God. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, one of the great pastoral theologians and followers of Christ, found himself isolated in a Nazi prison, cut off, separated from the church communities that he loved. But he wrote that the way that we connect to other people is always first and foremost through Jesus. So if you are connected to Jesus, and I am connected to Jesus, then we are connected to each other through Christ. Bonhoeffer talks a lot about how incredible it is to gather face to face with other Christian believers. But he says that ultimately we are bound together by faith, not by experience. Of course, in this time of global crisis, our focus is not solely on our own church community, but on the world. Some people will be exceedingly hurt by this virus, not just medically, but also financially. Some people will be devastated in ways that you or I may find hard to wrap our minds around. You know, it's in times like these that I begin to realize just how padded my security network is. I have so many layers of support that if even just one of them or two of them dropped out, I would still have another layer of support. Finances, sick leave, family, friends, a community. These are privileges that not everyone has to the same degree. And so this is a time in which we must all remember how dependent we are on each other. Be kind to one another. Be good to each other. And if you need help, please ask. I want to leave you with a couple of challenges today. 1, in this season where many of us are isolated from larger communities, make a phone call every day. Because if we cannot be present in body, our voices are the next best thing, even better than a text message or an email. So call somebody you love and tell them you love them. And if it's appropriate, pray for them. Pray with them over the phone. If you'd like a Trinity prayer buddy, send me an email or click the button on the Trinity to Go email, and we'll set you up with another prayer buddy in the church so you can be in prayer for each other over the phone. A second challenge is to find one small thing that you can do to help someone or some organization that is hard hit by the coronavirus. Can you support a nurse or a doctor? Can you babysit for someone whose kids are at home unexpectedly? Can you continue to support financially the nonprofits that you care about? Consider donating online to the church or mailing in a check. As a church, we still need to pay our bills even though we're not collecting a weekly offering and service. And 3, I'm offering a creativity challenge. Why? Because even Dietrich Bonhoeffer, when he was in prison, he went to visit all the other prisoners and brought with them the joy of the gospel. So if you've got some time on your hands, let's put a little joy into the world. Send us a video, a painting, a piece of artwork, a photograph, a TikTok dance video moment of joy that breaks out in the midst of pain, and we will find a way to share it. Trinity, you are so dear to my heart. We are dear to each other, and God be with you until we meet again.